It was a jam-packed Tuesday here at Locked on Kraken. We've got the street team here to talk about it. I just made that up, by the way. I don't know. We'll workshop it.
You are Locked on Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Seattle hockey fans. Welcome to another episode of Locked on Kraken, second episode of the day. We are part of the Locked on Podcast Network, where we bring you your favorite team every single day. My name is Erica L. Ayala. I am your usual host of Locked on Kraken, joined, though, by Joe Dabney, who helps us out on social media, and Ava Wood, who is our PWHL expert, who also, well, both are also contributors to the Women's Hockey Report. Before we get into everything that we have to recap from yesterday's events, I want to let everyone know that today's episode of Locked on Kraken brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. First, let's just do a vibe check. This is for you personally. How are we feeling? Ava, we'll start with you.
Honestly, I'm feeling tired because I feel like literally so much has happened just within the past 24 hours. So
It's true. Street team, let's go Streetic. I mean, I feel like you're one of the homies, right? You're basically the street team. I mean, if you want to be, but if you don't, it's fine too. But like, just know that you are the homie for sure.
Brian was also at the jersey release.
There you go. See what I mean? An incognito street team member, a street team member in the depths, as we might say. Freddie Fuego, look at that. I love that handle. Go Seattle. I know that's right. And I see you, Ava, rocking the Seattle Rain. Let's go. I love it. I love it. And the Black Future Co-op Fund, we were talking about that offline. All right, Joe, it's your turn. Let's get a vibe check with you.
I think the vibe is pretty good.
I love it.
I think the vibe is pretty good. I feel like we're just at a good point for Seattle hockey. Pretty excited. I sound a little tired now, but there was a lot happening.
You're like, there's a lot of
really
love to enjoy inside. Well, I mean, we know you had a late night because you were hanging out with the Kraken on the road. So I know we usually get the Piper and Allison experience, but we're going to get the Joe Dabney road experience on today's episode. So first we're going to go in chronological order of when things happened in the day yesterday, Tuesday, October 20th or 21st, excuse me. So first we got the jersey drops, not just for PWHL Seattle, but also PWHL Vancouver. And Ava was at, of course, the Seattle event. Didn't quite apparate up to Vancouver, but held it down for us. And Ava has posted and cross-promoted some stuff on the Locked on Kraken social media. You may have seen it, and we're going to talk about that. And I did an episode in midday, which if you're on the show, you can definitely check that out. And then Joe Dabney hanging out late night with the crew on the road, got to shadow a few folks from the Seattle Kraken. Unfortunately, the boys couldn't get a win, and I talked about that on an earlier episode. But Joe, it seems like you had a great time, so we can't wait to talk about that. And oh my gosh, I just realized there's a typo on the sidebar. We're going to talk about crossover. That should read potential. There's a letter or two missing. But we're going to talk about crossover potential in Seattle because, again, we're talking to Seattle hockey fans out there. What is the crossover appeal and potential now that we know PWHL Seattle is not only in the Emerald City, but they're sharing the same facilities with the Seattle Kraken. But Ava, we're going to start with you. Actually, we're going to all chime in on this first one because, again, both Vancouver and Seattle released their jerseys, and we're going to talk about how we feel about it. First, we're going to drop this here so you can see all of the jerseys. We have some other angles and photos that we'll share, but the Professional Women's Hockey League's 2 expansion teams officially unveil their home and away jerseys today as they prepare to hit the ice for their inaugural campaigns. The unveiling marks another milestone in the league's growth ahead of the 2025-26 regular season, which begins Friday, November 21st. And then we're going to read this next piece and discuss this next piece in a little bit. This is from the press release. Quote, each sweater features the city's name stitched diagonally across the front, paying homage to the designs worn by the PWHL's inaugural 6 teams in the league's first season. Seattle and Vancouver officially reveal team identities, including team names and logos, prior to the season beginning, which will be incorporated into on-ice uniforms for the 26-27 season. So that's what we got as far as the press release. We're going to dive into, again, the deets, if you will, the details when it comes to all of that and what it means. But same thing that we did with us. Let's just go with like vibes. We'll start with you, Joe, since you are our in-house expert. You've designed a jersey or two that has hit the ice at multiple levels, women's hockey, pro hockey, etc. Of course, the Black Rosie Media logo, which will have a new look that we're going to debut next week, right, Joe?
Yes, super excited for that. Super, super excited.
All right, so we're going to start with the expert, and then Ava and I will go off of vibes. What are your thoughts?
I do want to say that color-wise, I'm a little confused that it didn't match their respective default, I guess we're going to call them, logos.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bit confused. Not like torn or anything. It's not like criticism. I guess I just assumed that it would be of the same scheme.
Yeah.
I do kind of think it's funny and cheeky or cute way that they're really going home with the city name across the chest. But I do think it could have just been paired with their actual logo. Like, fans that want a jersey are going to get the jersey they want. It's not really like a waiting type of thing, especially in hockey because, you know, jerseys go fast. But I don't know. I'm a little torn on having an actual opinion until I see the actual jersey.
Okay. And so that does make sense.
When I saw the original jerseys that they have for the first 6 teams, and then I was looking back, I was like, actually, yeah, I kind of did like some of the city team jerseys. Like, I think I did like Boston over the Fleet, or I did like Minnesota over the Frost. But like, I like their logos, but I like their name going across. So I don't really know if I like Seattle and Vancouver yet.
Okay, that's fair. I want to stick with you, Joe, for a minute, because we've had this conversation on Locked on Kraken before. I know how you feel about stripes. We've talked about it.
I'm such a stripe hater, and I keep saying that I'm growing to tolerate them, but I think Vancouver did it really well. Their colors look really, really nice. I don't know if they're doing this because they're going to keep it or they're doing it to just show that these are their colors, but either way, I really like it.
Okay, we're going to talk about the color scheme, especially since you were in DC because that's where you live, and we'll talk about your experience with the Kraken. But I'm getting some DC vibes. If you know, you know. But we'll get into that for sure. Ava, you heard what Joe had to say, but what were your first reactions? And then you did get to see them live in living color on the actual athletes.
Yeah, so I actually really, really, really like the diagonal city name jerseys because I think part of my perspective was like maybe for new fans, they're going to want the branding, they're going to want the team names. But at the same time, I know a lot of fans from the inaugural 6 teams really did like those diagonal city jerseys. And like, I think it's cool that we get to have them. And I can also see this being more of like an alternate jersey, like how Kraken has like 3 jerseys. I kind of almost like that there's going to be a little bit more options. I also think the cream jersey is absolutely beautiful.
I mean, did they make it to match the Locked On logo? I'm just saying. I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
We're gonna start a narrative there.
We do it. We might as well start the narrative. I'm with you. The cream is like super clean. It's so clean that it's something I could never own. That's how you know it's clean, because I will muck it up for sure.
Yeah. I wish they were selling the away jerseys, honestly, because
they're not. I didn't even realize that.
Oh, they're not selling both.
What? Wait a minute. I didn't realize that either. This is new information.
For Seattle or just for Vancouver or both?
I don't think they're selling the away jerseys for either team. I could double check Vancouver, but I didn't see an option to buy the away jersey for Seattle.
What?
Come correct me if
No,
I didn't
I'm a little offended now. That's
Okay, wait. My first crash out happens at the, how far in are we? 10. We've really been on for 10 minutes. That's wild. My first crash out at the 10-minute mark. What?
Yeah, I hope that they'll sell them. Maybe.
I'm really disappointed now. That's the
Listen, like literally as y'all were talking, I was like, because I was like, I'm not gonna buy the jersey. Like, I'm really trying to be on my like minimalist vibe, which is I'm a tourist. I like comfy things, so it's a struggle, right? You know. And then I looked at that cream jersey on the screen, and I was like, okay, but like, I think I need it. I think I need it. I need it.
Yeah, I need it.
What?
I need it.
Need to get one. Kevin's on the tip there. Needs to get one for me and my daughter. I love that. Yes, Kevin. And good afternoon to you as well. Cool threads, and that color is pretty sweet. I mean, the colors are very nice. I think for both teams, honestly. Not what I was expecting, given the logo, like the kind of placeholder, I guess, logo, because as we read, they are going to reveal their branding, which, you know, again, we're going to get into that, but I want to just like, let's just talk about the vibes. Okay, let's go back to you, Joe, because I talked about Vancouver, and like, you know, I'm newish to the men's hockey, but I definitely remember Washington Capitals with their OG logo, which was literally the dome of the Capitol building, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the colorways were the same as what Vancouver is rocking this season.
It was, which maybe that's why I'm biased towards it. Like my deep-seated, deep-rooted subconscious bias, I don't know. But it just looks really good when you put like traditional primary colors with like an off color that people don't usually like, a brown, a tan, a gray.
Yeah.
I think it looks really, really good. And then whenever you have like a cream jersey that's not white, I think it just stands out on the ice more. It just looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, I really
it's like makes me more excited for whatever their logo is, because like if those are their colors, oh, man,
yeah, that would be
excited.
Super dope. I mean, I really like how these look. I mean, Sophie Jake's rocking it for us.
I'm so sad we can't get that one though. Like,
come on, that's wild to me. I did not realize that. So we're gonna have to double check on that. You know, we're going to talk about the event in a bit, but the thing that confuses me still here is this last paragraph. Specifically the last portion. Seattle and Vancouver will officially reveal team identities, including team names and logos, prior to the season beginning, which will be incorporated into the on-ice uniforms. Now, again, they also do preface that they're paying homage to the OGs, and the fact that, you know, the first 6 teams, they had these city jerseys and the all of that stuff. Like, I get it, I'm here for it, but several thoughts. One, it's not like the PWHL, they made a choice and they were like, we're leaning all in, like rep your city type vibes. It was because it was easier to do that in the first season than to go back and forth on some of the team names. So it was not a choice that they made. It was, we got to put something on these athletes before they hit the ice. So it's definitely a choice, though, to lean into that as part of your history. Like, as if we forgot. No, we ain't forget that y'all just were like nameless teams out here. They basically were doing the PWHPA thing in the PWHL. So that's number one. Number two is like, okay, I get it. Like the original 6 teams did that. And so you're like, well, we're going to have all teams, maybe, I don't know, do that. But also, like, I mean, the Seattle Kraken didn't have to do everything that the original 6 NHL teams did, just as an example, like evolve with time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that you needed to do that. And then it goes also to, I forget who said it, but just make it an alternate jersey. If you're going to unveil logos and jerseys anyway, then why not just make it an alternate? And then what would be super cool if you did that is, and maybe they will, or they'll take this from us, then have every team, like I see you have the Victoire behind you, Ava, but like bring back the reverse retro, right? For Montreal and let fans be able to buy the OG season 1 jerseys and have a secondary jersey that these teams, maybe they wear those for takeover tour, because no one's going to have the same jersey because they all say their city name. Like I just don't understand the decision making. I think they tried to make it work for me, Joe, but I'm not sold.
I definitely agree. I would say with most of that, because on one hand, if you're doing a reveal, and obviously we know they're filming and taking media and whatnot beforehand, so we know they're having this thought or this plan way ahead of time. I don't really understand having multiple releases and launches if you're already saying that you already have it. Like I get it if they're saying, this is this, we haven't quite decided on what we're doing yet. Maybe we'll announce it at like right before the playoffs or something, if that's even allowed or however that would work. But having more than one when it could have just been an alternate, like Ava said, which I really like having this city name across your chest as an alternate would be so cool.
So
and
dope.
So many people talk about how they missed getting the city name because they sold out so fast. Even me, I wanted one and it was sold out. So like
get a bag.
That would be, in my eyes, the better option, especially as opposed to like announcing it and then everyone getting that jersey and then you announce your actual jersey and logo, and then maybe the people that got the name didn't realize that they could just waited to get the jersey that actually had the logo or the branding that was going to be fitting the team. It seems a bit excessive.
Yeah. Ava, did you want to chime in on this? Like, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, the way that this reads to me is it's similar to in year one, right? Where it's like, okay, we don't have the time to make the jerseys. We don't have time to make jerseys with logos. So the way this reads to me is they did not have time to make the jerseys with the logos, but you can't say that in a press release. So you have to say you're paying homage, right? And that's not shade. That's just the way I'm reading the situation.
Yeah.
They want to sell the jerseys now so that when they do the home opener, everybody already has the jerseys. That's the way the situation reads to me. But I agree with what y'all are saying. Like, again, people do like the diagonal jerseys. So if they really do want to pay homage, I do think there's an opportunity there. But yeah, that's how the situation reads to me. As far as interpreting the statement from the press conference, I think the key phrase is Seattle and Vancouver will officially reveal team identities, including team names and logos, prior to the season beginning. So key is, what is the season? Is the season this season or is it next season?
Yeah. I mean, that's true. They don't say, I think for me, the assumption that I make is that they're talking about this season, the being this season, this upcoming season, because then they go on to say will be incorporated into on-ice uniforms for the 2026-27 season, which is next year. So why would they differentiate if they're going to reveal everything next year and make it available next year? To me, it sounds like, oh yeah, we're going to get the jerseys this year, but we're just going to show it to you. And then you have to wait a whole freaking year before
that actually,
it hits the
kind
ice.
of sounds like the middle ground of both of y'all's statements, that like the jerseys will be revealed, the logos will be shown
at some point,
but it will not be available to fans. Because if they're saying it will be revealed but not available, kind of just sounds like the mix of both, which then, I guess I'm not opposed to. Because in my eyes, I'm just saying, like, if you have all these jerseys and you already know that fans want it, why keep waiting to make them available?
Why keep waiting?
If you already have it, that fans won't be able to get it until next season, but you just want your fans to have something of yours. I think that kind of makes sense. I don't like it, but I think it makes sense.
I guess also it's like you're announcing an announcement,
which I think is a little silly.
Yeah, just don't say. They could have just not said anything about the logo.
Like
but then we would have been mad either way.
Like
so.
a late summer thing instead of like right before the season starts.
That also,
because if this happened in like late July, August, maybe in the beginning of September, then I think it would make perfect sense.
That makes sense
because like you're building the hype.
Yeah, because
Like the hype's already here. Season's about to start.
it's
We're
literally
ready.
around the corner. Like
Like
training
I'm
camp
not
starts
sure.
what in
Yeah,
2 weeks. I guess
literally.
for me, like, because I'm thinking, well, why not just announce that later and give no notice? But then it's like we said, if someone buys this jersey and maybe they really are not trying to have a whole collection of hockey jerseys that just sit in a closet somewhere, and they want to be particular for any number of reasons. Like, you might feel some kind of way if you could have had the final jersey with the final logo, as compared to, like, not everyone wants multiple hockey jerseys. So I feel like people would have been mad then. But I hear what you're saying, Joe, like, because here's the other thing. If you do some sleuthing, clearly Vancouver and Seattle had their photo shoot in the same ice rink. Like, it's the same purple seats. So how long ago this was, I have no idea. But like, maybe shortly. Oh, go ahead.
I think it was like a few weeks ago.
Well, then, like, maybe announce it then, that you have the jerseys that they're going to use in, like, I just don't know if you're going to announce it. And again, semantics, now we're like super getting into semantics, but like, prior to the season beginning, if you're going to announce the official logo and jersey prior to the season beginning, and it's not like today, then
You're
what are
right.
we talking about?
We only have a few more weeks.
That's what I'm saying. Like, once those proofs were in, babes, hit send. Hit send. And
I also feel like it kind of underestimates how dedicated hockey fans are when a jersey is announced. Like, there are so many fans that buy jerseys of teams they don't even like just because it's a good jersey. I feel like they're kind of underestimating how badly people would want a jersey with their logo on it.
100%. Yeah. And so we already have, because there's already, right, they sold PWHL Seattle and Vancouver merch with the holder logo. And if we really want to get funky, the holder logos and the jerseys that they unveiled yesterday, the colors don't match.
Which I really dislike.
Because I love that green for Seattle and I love the blue for Vancouver, but those are not the same green and blues that we see in the unis.
Which kind of makes me wonder if they were just following their respective NHL team color patterns, so people would like associate that with that city for the time being.
I mean, yes,
if these are their colors that they're going with for the jerseys, that makes sense. And if they were just using that to associate with, like, these are Kraken fans and Seattle fans, and these are Canucks fans and Vancouver fans, that kind of makes sense.
Okay, but
if they're just doing it,
if I didn't host Locked on Kraken and we literally have the background here with that light blue color, would I see this and be like, oh my gosh, they are going to play in the same place as the Seattle Kraken? I don't think I would.
I definitely wouldn't. Not at all.
And I mean, I don't pay much attention to the Canucks until I have to, but like, this isn't screaming Vancouver Canucks to me either, which I'm fine with. Like, I don't have a problem with.
I'm glad that they're not like super matchy, but I definitely think
we're the girls' team of the men's team. No, don't do that.
No, I'm so glad they didn't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we clearly have thoughts that are not all going to be answered here. And we still have to talk about this on the Women's Hockey Report. So we're going to keep it moving. We're going to get into what Ava had experienced. We are going to take our break and then we'll start with Ava, because we're going to get into what you experienced, again, seeing the jerseys up close and the event, because I loved that there was an event. Obviously, I kept eyes on the Seattle event, and I still have questions about the events, but we'll get into that coming up on this special episode of Locked on Kraken. This special episode of Locked on Kraken is brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Listen, it's really hard to keep up with all of your finances. You don't always know what accounts you have and how much they're worth, whether you're talking retirement accounts, 401ks, etc. And if you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It is an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. And Monarch Money is built for people with busy lives. It helps do the heavy, or does the heavy lifting for you. Smart categorization, clear data visuals, and you can finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. Today's episode of Locked on Kraken also brought to you by Rougiette. Let's be real, making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. It happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rougiette comes in. It is a fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatment for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiette is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. Visit Rougiette, RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNHL so they know we sent you. Rougiette, stop making excuses and start making moves. And we are going to make moves to talk more about this reveal with Ava coming up on this episode of Locked on Kraken. I mean, Ava and Joe, but we're going to start with Ava because I know you had some thoughts as we were closing out that first segment, but I wanted to get through. We had 2 reads we had to get through there. But Ava, we're going to go to you anyway because you were boots on the ground. You got to see the threads in action. Now, they did explicitly say sewn because we've seen that, you know, Joe, what's the term when it's not sewn on, but it's
Ironed?
Not ironed, but it's like it's just like the design is like,
oh, the screen printed.
Screen printed.
Like when
there we go. I was like,
kind of all one.
What does this mean?
Texture.
It's this.
Which, like,
I'm glad you interpreted that for me.
Sewn looks so good. So
sewn looks so good. Embossed, you know, like you have an embossed
they looked so
logo, good. Ava, for Seattle Rain. We love that. Yeah. So were these? Can you confirm or deny? Were these actually sewn or were they just printed?
Honestly, now I feel like I wasn't paying enough attention, but it looked really good. So maybe sewn.
Maybe sewn. All right, we'll have to go back to some of your.
If it was like super shiny, it was probably screen printed. But if it kind of looked like matte and like thick, it was definitely sewn.
I think it was sewn.
Yeah, like it would be like the jersey, the actual material of the jersey, and then the letters are separate and placed on top of the jersey.
Yeah,
as opposed to
like super embroidered and thick and that's thick.
It looks like they are sewn. Like that looks like it's sewn. Like I think that's a little stray thread there. That's how you know it's real. So okay. Tell us about the event. Tell us about the jerseys. Tell us about being able to be with Carpy and Schroeds and Jenna and Knight and all of the things. Tell us all the things.
Yeah. So
was Kayla there too?
Yeah, Kayla Barnes.
Kayla was there. Okay, great.
Yeah, so it was Jenna Buglioni, Kayla Barnes, Hillary Knight, Corinne Schroeder, and Alex Carpenter. So those were the 5. So it was at Climate Pledge Arena, and actually it was some of the players' first ever time at Climate Pledge Arena. Like, I don't think Corinne Schroeder had been there before.
No way.
Yeah, and honestly, I just feel like Climate Pledge Arena is so beautiful. Like, its placement right next to the Space Needle. And it was a beautiful day out, so that was great. And it's also cool to see the players all finally being in town. I mean, I don't know if everybody's in town yet, but to see like those 5 players in town in the jerseys, it's like, okay, is happening. So we did like a photo op with the Space Needle, and then like with the Space Needle and the arena, and then
that's my thinking face. I apologize.
Yeah. And then just like some media asking questions. Yeah, seeing the jerseys in real life, I think they looked better in real life than in the pictures. I think whatever filter they put on the pictures makes them look bluer than they actually are.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, and I know that they have kind of blue shorts and like gloves, so maybe that contributed to it. But I think when I saw it in real life, I was like, okay, this is definitely turquoise.
Interesting. Okay, this is interesting. I learned this in college when I played college sports, but sometimes the color, like the true color of your school, and then the colors that the teams wear is not the same because they have to think about how the color will translate on mostly video. So they actually have the colors look different. I always thought that was interesting because we were like maroon and gold. And then I was like, but our jerseys are red. Like this, like Trick, you cannot fool me. This is red. It's not maroon. Maroon is maroon and red are not the same. And then I feel like there's probably a spectrum of like a more maroon red or a more red maroon, if that makes sense. But our jerseys were red. So that's really interesting because I'm looking at these photos and I'm like, okay, but like, that's not the same green. Okay, so it looks a little different in person, huh?
Yeah.
That actually makes me wonder if like all the teams were like that with their original like default logos. And now I'm trying to remember. And that would kind of make sense to why we thought and we feel that they don't match their placeholder logos.
Yeah, because they don't match. I'm like, on screen,
like it's not that they're super far off, but like
no,
very clearly not the same.
It's noticeable, right? Yes. It's noticeable. Okay, so a little bit different in person. What else? What were the vibes like? I mean, Schroed's first time in Seattle, as we see Striatic saying, which is hella dope. Seattle's an awesome place to be. What else there? I thought it was interesting that so they announced a press conference. That's when we reached out to Ava and our street team and we're like, we got to get you there. But I just assumed that y'all were going to be downstairs where we usually have the Kraken press conferences. The whole thing was outside.
Yeah, and that was part of the issue because there was quite a lot of background noise. So I don't know if this was more of like I don't want to be shady here. I don't know if this is more of like a rush event because I definitely don't think it was ideal for it to be outside, just due to that background noise. I also think as far as communication, because it was short notice, like for when I showed up and I was telling people, I was like, hey, actually, I think there is going to be a team name. And then the other media people were like, what? So I think maybe we should have asked them directly, but I think just the communication of like those logistical details maybe could have been better. Like maybe they could have sent like additional information to media before we like went to ask questions, if that makes sense.
Do you get the impression that they had the event at Climate Pledge just because the Kraken were on their road trip? Like, is that kind of the vibe?
Yeah, where were the Kraken, Joe?
On a very rough road trip.
Striatic saying a literal leaf blower. So like the lands crew, the grounds crew. What am I trying to say? I also have a lawnmower or a motorcycle outside of my window. The groundskeepers perhaps didn't even know. They were just like, "Well, we gotta get these leaves out of here." Yeah, that's kind of wild.
I think they just wanted to have the photo op, and then as a second thought, it was like, okay, let's do like the media, but I don't know, maybe it could have been two different things, or maybe they didn't have access to the building.
Open the door real quick, babes. Like, just open the door. Like, because they were kind of I was like, oh, they're just standing around. And I know that Charles and Dylan, so from Circling Seattle Sports and Dylan from Emerald City Hockey, they did a little crossover action. And the first thing that Charles said and Dylan confirmed is that like they were like, yeah, they wanted the Space Needle because like if you've been to CPA, like the Space Needle is literally right there. Like you walk out of some of the main doors and then you turn left and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in Seattle. So that's what's awesome, right? Seattle Center, right? That's literally where CPA is, Old Key Arena. And so I get that. Who doesn't want a photo op? I certainly always take photos. That and the Brooklyn Bridge are like two things. I don't care what I'm doing, why I'm there. I'm always going to take a photo. And so I get that, but also like, it was really sunny out, which again, beautiful, but it seemed like it was a bit much on the eyes of people, and then trying to get a good angle and stuff like that. I don't know how much headway they had. Can't speak for the Vancouver event, or honestly, I don't even know if there was a Vancouver event. I know that I got the Seattle notice, but I think what we also have to say, just as a little bit of, behind the curtain stuff, I know for sure that there's been some personnel changes happening with PWHL Seattle. And so, we at Locked On Kraken and Black Rosie Media have been keeping up with that, just because we've been trying to get our plans together for coverage of the inaugural season. And so I do know that that's been something. I think it was, anyway, it's not my story to tell. So, but, I think it was just, this was also a changing of the guard, it seemed like, and it was just like a lot of things happening at the same time, which happens. I mean, we know that sports moves super fast, but okay. But you did get to, I think this was right, your first opportunity to kind of, in more of a media role, air quotes for those listening on audio, for you to engage with athletes. So what was that experience like? You were kind of in the mix, but I think trying to feel it out. What did you make of your first kind of media experience?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I think all of the players are so special, because to come out and literally do a press conference and like kind of do that public speaking, that is its own skill in and of itself. So I just want to give a kudos to all the players, because I'm like, wow, you are all so good at this. Even like Jenna Buglioni, right? She's like coming straight out of college. She's so well spoken. Even like Alex Carpenter and Corian Schroeder, who I think are kind of known for being a little bit more quiet personalities, like them being able to come out and like be in this new place and really represent the team. Like, I just think that the players did a phenomenal job. Yeah, I think it was great to be there. And I also just wanted to make them feel like happy about being in Seattle in a way, like,
We love it.
Yeah. So,
well, we're glad that you were there. Thank you for your coverage and for, being a part of, again, the Locked On Kraken Street team here. I see Striatic's comment, as someone who photographed the event, it was tough with the players massively backlit. I mean, that sun was shining. The sun was like, we're ready for y'all.
Looked really bright.
It looked super bright.
So
like
rare sunny day.
It looked like a beautiful day. It looked like just like chef's kiss weather, which is great. It does make it a little difficult, especially when the sun, you've got to wear, these are things people don't realize about media. We've got to worry about sun. We've got to worry about noise. And Joe, you got to experience that as well, because there's so many things just even to get in the building when we are allowed in the building. That there's a lot that goes into what we do as media.
Yes, there is, which I feel like is kind of overlooked. Especially, I do like to say that I like to keep my professional and fan side separate. So sometimes I kind of overlook like the working things. And there were so many parts of Capital One where I was walking around and I was like, oh, am I allowed to go in there? Forgetting that I'm not a fan today. I was working. I was 100% allowed to go wherever. That completely slipped my mind every couple minutes.
That's definitely the upside. We still go through security, but I have my big old bag with me.
Which I loved having my bag with me. I was like toting it around. I was so happy. I was like, oh, I have all my stuff with me today. I was very excited.
It was super cool. So let's talk about hashtag content. Ava, we're going to come back to you because, you did what I consider your signature, throwing a fit with Jenna, which I loved. Tell us about that. Like, was Jenna on board? Like, was she like, what do you need from me? What was the combo like?
Yeah, I mean, I just pulled her aside because she has like such a bubbly personality. I was like, hey, do you want to make a TikTok? She was a really good sport about it. And then I saw that all of the Seattle players did the whole throw a fit trend, like independent of me. So don't know if I influenced that, but I also know like Hillary Knight loves making TikToks. So actually when I showed up, one of the people working was like, oh, they were asking if you're going to be here. So I was like, okay, they might actually want to make a TikTok. So.
Hell yes. I love that.
So exciting.
They like people know you. You're a kind of a big deal.
Literally.
I love that. I love that. And Joe, you got some, warmies. We got the warmies. We got pucks thrown into the crowd. I loved that Catton looked like it looked like directly at your phone and then just did one of those.
Yes.
And they knocked their visor
down.
I
feel like he did it on purpose. I'm just going to pretend that he did. In our world, he definitely did.
100%. And then we have some content that we haven't posted yet, but you also got to do some BTS with the broadcast and staff of the Seattle Kraken.
One of the perks of having somewhat of a social media presence is that you meet so many different people that work for other teams. And I hadn't realized that I knew so many people of the Kraken staff until they were there. They were like, "Are you Joe?" And I was like, "Yes." And then I just boldly asked, like, "Can I follow you for like a period? Can I like film what you're doing? I'll make it like a vlog." It was pretty exciting. I met Piper Shaw, kind of saw the behind the scenes of as she was interviewing players after each period, after the game. We're going to ignore the score, completely disregarding that. It was pretty exciting.
As you wear a Capitals sweater, we see it.
Look, I had to refresh myself. I wasn't allowed to cheer in the press box.
It's fine.
Okay?
It's fine.
It was my first Caps game in a while. Okay, I was like,
this
is me regrouping.
No, honestly, I respect it because, like, if I had to hop on a Yankees podcast, the first thing that I would do was wear my most obnoxious Mets stuff because
I don't think I could do it for certain teams. I feel like it's okay with the Kraken because I do like the Kraken, but if it was like literally any other team, I don't know.
Philly, I don't know. Yeah, that would be tough. Well, we're grateful for you both. I think you did a great job. And again, Street Team, more to come. We've got full seasons ahead of us. We're going to take a quick little break for our sponsors who pay the bills over at Locked On. And then we're going to talk about crossover potential. And so we'll have that coming up on this episode, live episode, bonus episode of Locked On Kraken. Once again, we are brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. We know that the NFL season is here, the NHL season. We've got NBA starting up, and of course, the World Series. Sorry, Mariners fans. But right now, FanDuel has an offer that sports fans are not going to want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Put down $5, and if it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Now, you can use this for building parlays, player props, and even just following lines, live lines during the game. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. And we are going to keep this party going and talk about, again, crossover appeal between the Seattle Kraken and PWHL Seattle, aka the Seattle hockey team, to be named at a later date. All right. Ava Wood and Joe Dabney joining us here on a special episode of Locked On Kraken. We are recapping Tuesday, where we had our street team at the PWHL Seattle announcement for the jersey reveal. We got to catch up with some of the players, or Ava got to catch up with some of the players. And then Joe Dabney was talking a little bit about some of the behind the scenes, catching up with some friends on social media, turned friends in real life, IRL. And so that was awesome. We all love women's hockey here. We all have come from women's hockey. Well, Ava and I for sure. And then switching over to the men folk. But one thing that we know is that Seattle is going to have pro women's hockey, pro men's hockey. They've got baseball. They've got basketball. The Sonics, we're hoping, are coming back soon. There's football. There's so much soccer or football. There's so much crossover here, but we're going to talk about crossover potential between PWHL Seattle and the Seattle Kraken. Now, we already know that the PWHL Seattle team will not only play at Climate Pledge Arena, which they were introduced to, some of them for the first time yesterday, but also they will practice at Kraken Community Iceplex. And Ava, you and I have talked about this before, so I want to come to Joe first on this. Now, Kraken practices are open. For the most part, it's very seldom that we have a full-on closed practice. Sometimes they'll do like a special season ticket holder event, but for the most part, fans can skedaddle on over to KCI Kraken Community Iceplex and get to see pro hockey players practicing. We don't know for sure if that's going to happen with PWHL Seattle, and early returns from the preseason are maybe no. Like, we won't have open practices until a little bit later in training camp, and no open scrimmages. So when it comes to crossover potential, if we see that the Kraken have open practices, do you think that it's like do you think PWHL Seattle has to like kind of follow the Seattle trend, or do you think they have to kind of stick to what they've been doing league wide?
I want to start by saying that the Seattle Kraken staff, just before game, during the game, post game, were already so excited about PWHL Seattle. It's like I can already tell that Seattle was really excited for this team. Fans, staff, player-wise. I don't think that women's teams, even if they're in the same sport, should feel the need to follow whatever the men's team is doing. And I also understand why women's teams, PWHL specific, don't want to have open practices. I do think that there should be something in the middle to kind of, I don't want to say reach the men's fans, but kind of grab the people who are maybe interested but don't really know much about the team yet. Because practices are a great way to gain new fans.
100%. And practices, when I think about the women's leagues that predated the PWHL, specifically the National Women's Hockey League, which is how I cut my teeth in hockey. Practices, now granted, at some point I became a media member, but practices were how I learned the game. That's how I learned hockey. And so for me, and Ava, I know you and I have talked about this, but for me, it's not necessarily like the Kraken do this, so the women have to do it. It's not like one of those things, because you know me, I'm like, no, let's be better than the men. Thank you. But in this particular case, I don't think it's about being like the NHL. I think it's about being like the Seattle community. And we saw that for the takeover tour, the first stop for this year, 2025, was in Seattle. And it was Boston, so Hillary Knight was there, and Montreal, so Kayla Barnes was there. Bucky also, Michaela Grant-Mentis, who will be on the Seattle team. And it like they noticed it right away, because it's also about, yes, you can learn as casual fans, but it's also for the diehard fans that just love being able to show up and show love. Yes, some people are asking for pictures or autographs, but honestly, Ava, you and I have been to a lot of those practices, and to me, it's like an exchange of love and appreciation.
Yeah, it's like almost sometimes even like better than games, because you can tell that fans are just there to like really support their team. Yeah, I again, I don't think this is really like a men's hockey thing. It's definitely a Seattle hockey thing, and that's part of what makes Seattle so special. And especially when they did it for the takeover game, like that place was packed. Like I remember I was like, I don't know how early I have to get there. I don't know how many people are going to show up. A lot of people were there.
It was 100% packed. And not all Kraken practices are packed, but definitely the ones that are announced are packed. And the fans, again, are just good people, good vibes. I mean, Striatic is in the chat. I know Striatic knows what the vibes are. And again, it just makes it more personable. It makes it more accessible, because even for PWHL, you know, not everyone is necessarily in the position where they can or even want to maybe go to an event that's at such a big place, a big arena like Climate Pledge Arena. But for people, for all different reasons, being at a practice facility is manageable. It's 100% manageable. Okay, we're going to kind of ping pong here. We'll start with Joe, then go to Ava, and then I'll chime in. Let's say maybe 3 things that you would like to see from a crossover perspective.
Ooh, 3 things.
Yeah. Okay. So Joe, you'll say your first, then Ava will say her first, and I'll say my first, and then we'll walk through. We'll kind of snake it that way, or not snake it, but we'll just continue on in the same order. I was like, because snake.
I think it's not crazy to say that, you know how every team has, across all sports, they'll have their Women's History Month celebrations? I want to see the Kraken go full out for Seattle,
Heck
for
yes.
Seattle women's hockey. Like, not just the team too, but like the history there. Like, there are so many players, local fans, just players that are youth. I don't know. Something there. I really want it. Like, I was thinking about it last night's game. I was like, everyone's so excited about this team. What are you doing for Women's History Month? I know they have their special jersey that they can't wear on the ice, but that's a whole other thing. They could definitely have the players though. Could do something there. I would love to see that.
Ooh,
And I know
I love it.
this kind of ties back to them having their closed practices. I'm assuming, just in their defense, that it might be tied to the logos that we have not seen yet.
Ava, you've been saying that.
It could be possible that they'll have special, maybe theme night things. That I would also like to see them incorporate other local fans. I personally am super biased, but I love when teams do something of another sport and just make it a hockey jersey, like a basketball jersey that's just a hockey jersey.
Seattle Storm on the ice. Let's go.
Literally,
all right,
like,
Joe, I think
Seattle
you gave
has
us
such great
2.
women's sports.
Joe was like,
I would love to
I'm
see
getting
that.
my 2 in right now. Okay, so Ava, you'll give your next 2. So Joe's talking about incorporating the players properly and really thoughtfully, while also some intersectional fandoms, as Striatic maybe said. I'm with you. Actually, you know what? This is the truth. I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but I once went to like a minor league, like AAA Brooklyn Cyclones. I actually don't know if they're AAA or AA, but anyway, I went to a minor league baseball game back when I was living in New York, back home. And I went to a Brooklyn Cyclones game. And one of my first Brooklyn Cyclones games was a giveaway night. And you know what the giveaway was? A hockey jersey. That was the first hockey jersey I ever owned, because I got it at a baseball game because I'm a baseball girly. And then I started going to the Riveters games, and I was like, well, now I need your autographs. And I happened to wear that jersey to the first ever Riveters game that I went to, because again, only hockey jersey I ever owned. Also wasn't a great idea because baseball's played in the summer. So even if it's a hockey jersey, they make it weatherproof for baseball, not for hockey. So I was definitely cold, and I was like, bad choice here. But I have a Brooklyn Cyclones jersey signed by the inaugural season New York Riveters. One of my prized possessions. So
see, like,
I'm with
the
you there.
Sports thing, the crossover there is just, it's waiting to happen.
I'm with it.
I can feel it.
I'm with it. Okay, Ava, give us your first 2.
Okay, so I don't know if this is possible, but what I've seen in some of the other markets like Ottawa and Montreal is like the NHL teams will do like a skills competition and then also invite the women's players. Has the Kraken ever done that? And would that be possible?
Wait a minute. Okay, the Kraken do a skills
so
competition.
fun.
What is it called? Striatic, you might have to help me out here because I know you know what it's called. But
I
the
know a lot
Seattle
of the
Kraken
Canadian
do
teams do
the
it.
Seattle Kraken do their own skills competition every year, and they usually make the goalies the captains. So it will be like Team Grubauer versus Team Decord, and they have skills competitions. So yes, the Seattle Kraken do that. No, they have never invited women's hockey players, and yes, they should do it this year. It's around that.
I would love to see that.
That would be awesome. I will say that we might not get it because usually it's around All-Star break, not always, but it's usually it's kind of around All-Star break. And since there is no All-Star break because there's an Olympic break, I don't know if that's going to happen this year, but I feel like there's got to be a way to make it happen. I love that. Okay, that's number 1. That's a really good one. It's Striatic saying it's around All-Star. It's the skills showcase. Yeah, something like that. Like Seattle Kraken skills show. It doesn't have like a cool name like the Stuckey Cup, so I can't remember it. But because Stuckey is one of our equipment managers.
Maybe the Mariners will let them borrow the trident for it.
Oh, that would be dope. Cute. Wave some fish around. Okay, that's a really good. Y'all have some good ones. I'm like, let's do this quick, and then I ramble for 40 minutes. Okay, that's number 1. What's number 2?
Okay, I don't know. Also, don't know if this is a good idea, but I think just making sure to have PWHL Seattle stuff in Climate Pledge Arena, so that when people go to a Kraken game, they'll see, oh, what is this merch, or like a special cocktail, you know, because they have like Kraken themed food and drinks. So maybe like some, whatever the PWHL brand is, maybe they have some type of themed like food or something just
Yes.
in the arena. Just
yes. And I'm going to add on to yours. If they do it for PWHL Seattle, they should also do it for the Seattle Storm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, yes. Which
Because
really
it's
makes
literally
me
the
hope
same
that
building.
like their logo can have a mascot.
Yeah.
So that can be a little thing.
Yeah. Striatic also helped me out here, but I think that the Seattle or Climate Pledge Arena has been better at having storm gear in the store while there's Kraken season, because it wasn't a thing the first season. Because I was looking, you know how I am. I'm like, oh, this is great. Where are the women? Why you got no women on the wall? You know, like that's a quote from Do the Right Thing. I remixed it anyway. So yes, these are good. These are name more food after Hillary night. Yes, Rough and Tumble's got
Honestly,
yeah. I mean, I think that's great. Drink, but merch. Like sell the merch. Sell the merch. Especially like if they said, again, tagging on to what y'all are saying, if they said that the only way you can get the Cream City edition of the PWHL Seattle jersey is if you go to a Kraken game, do you know how much money I would drop just to get one of those?
I would be there tomorrow. Like,
I would
there'd
camp
be
out.
no doubt about it.
I would camp
be
out
on a plane tomorrow because I need that jersey.
I mean,
They
so
would be
if
seeing me tomorrow. They'd be like, Joe, the season's not starting. I wouldn't even care. I would
it's
be
like,
there.
okay, well, I'm here early. Thank you.
I need it. I need it so bad. It looks so good.
Yeah, it looks so good. It's so good. Okay. Y'all have given some pretty good ones. So I kind of maybe fumbled by going last here because now what am I going to say? Okay.
I have faith in you.
Thank you. Crossovers, I would love to see. I think, you know, I'm a media girly, so woman, thank you. Definitely a woman. I would like to see some crossover when it comes to the broadcast and or some like media crossover. I got to call an NHL game on the radio because the New Jersey Devils, shout out to the New Jersey Devils, they had a crew call a Devils versus Avalanche, like literally after they won the year after they won the Stanley Cup. I got to call a New Jersey Devils game, get a comeback win over the Avalanche. Like that's on my resume. That was sick. And it shouldn't just be a one and done. Also call me if you need a broadcaster. Like your girl is here. Have NHL experience and women's hockey experience, college experience. I got you, boo. Got to put the plug out there. But
Absolutely.
I would love to see and I think we have an amazing broadcast crew. I mean, you got to hang out with some of them, Joe. I would love to see them like really put people on that are covering women's hockey and have some crossover. And Piper does such a great job with her storytelling. We know Allison Lucan. Allison knows women's hockey for sure. And I would love to
that's important too.
Yeah.
Just to like add in real quick. One of the tiny little pet peeves I have when I'm watching women's hockey or women's sports in general is when you can tell someone does not watch women's sports.
Yeah.
They'll be asking little questions or they'll just get something wrong in the most insane way. I love when women's fans cover women's sports.
You agreed.
It's just different.
Yeah. So
and appreciate it in a way that like you can't get for
and that we're not used to. That's a lot of why we do what we do at Black Rosie Media. So I would love to see a media crossover. You know, I want to see like John Forsland and the crew coming to a PWHL game, whoever they have for PWHL Seattle games. Also call your girl. I'm just saying, whoever they have covering those games, you know, coming to Kraken games and like doing segments together, like all of this stuff. You're literally sharing facilities, like make it happen. Or I guess this is my point number 2. Have a sit down with, you've got Olympians from both sides, not only former past Olympians, but this is an Olympic year. This might be my crown jewel. And then we're going to close the podcast because I don't think I can get better than this. This is an Olympic year. You have Olympians that are playing in Seattle. They are representing Seattle in their pro leagues and then are going to go to Milano Cortina where Joe and I are going to hang out. And why not have Olympians have a sit down and just talk to each other about what it takes to be an Olympian, the pride, but also like the hard work. And then like what is it like for Philipp Grubauer, who plays for Team Germany, versus Hillary Knight, who's been playing for Team USA since she was like, I don't know, 2 years old, it feels like, like yes, they're both Olympians or will be, but they also have vastly different experiences. And also I love this idea because, the Olympians the Olympians with the most experience, who will they be? The women.
Exactly. I also think that kind of adds to wanting to incorporate the other Seattle women's sports as well, because each of those teams have Olympians.
100%. Yeah.
Also, maybe that's like my bias here, that I just love hearing the women's athletes because they're all Olympians and they're all
pretty much they
in
have
some
to be.
way. So like,
yeah,
I see no reason why they just can't be incorporated.
Yeah. I love that. Olympians talking to Olympians. Okay, let's do it. Or if they don't do it, we'll do it on Black Rosie. Because we will be in Milano Cortina. That's right. Black Rosie Media, which of course Locked on Kraken is umbrellaed under Black Rosie Media. We will be in Milano Cortina, and we will have a street team in Italy, but we will also have contributors such as Ava Wood being able to hold it down, not just for Locked on Kraken and our women's hockey coverage, but also for the women's hockey report. I mean, I feel like these are good ideas. I'm gonna send this to whoever needs to see it, and we'll see what happens. But there's so much crossover potential, and I mean, the sky is the limit. But the thing that I like about Seattle is that for the most part, when they do something, they commit. At least the Kraken, they 100% commit, and I do think that's an expectation that PWHL Seattle, which they have to do a lot of things uniformly that the PWHL do, but I do hope that PWHL Seattle, again, is able to lean into the culture that's already been built, not just in Seattle hockey culture, but Seattle sports culture. And it's going to be interesting to see how they both make it their own and enrich and enhance that experience while also integrate themselves into that. But it's been fun. Thank y'all both for being on opposite ends of the country and holding it down, giving our listeners and viewers and social media followers some stuff to be able to follow along with. So we'll go around the horn again. We'll start with you, Joe. Where can folks find you, including maybe some of the BTS stuff that we haven't posted yet?
Yes, it's @notafan_Joe, literally everywhere on everything. Gonna post hopefully tonight before the game tomorrow. All the behind the scenes I got to do with all the staff, all of them talking me through their jobs that I had knew nothing about. Some of the stuff with the players, some fans. Yeah. TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, all the same. @notafan_Joe.
We love it. Ava, I think folks know, but just in case they don't, where can folks find you and some of the content that you've already posted and cross-promoted for Locked on Kraken?
Yeah, I'm everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, 365 Hockey Girl. I talk about PWHL pretty much every day in all facets. Like kind of from the fan perspective, but also like giving you information and like social commentary, comedy. Yeah.
You're both awesome at what you do. I'm so grateful that you have joined me along this wild ride that is Locked on Kraken, and again, more broadly, Black Rosie Media. If I haven't said it enough or at all, I'm very particular about who I collaborate with. Maybe sometimes to my detriment, but I know that there are great and wonderful people doing great and wonderful things, and they just need that first chance, or a person to kind of see their potential and give them maybe an opportunity to do something that they've never done before. So I'm grateful not only that you brought your skills and talents to the work that we do together, but also that you were open to trying some new things. So thank you. Truly, truly thank you both. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ava, for all that you do. And I'm always grateful when our paths and when our content it aligns and we're able to collaborate.
Aw, thanks, Erica.
Oh my goodness. I'm so honored to work with y'all. Literally.
Appreciate y'all. And we appreciate everyone that listens and or watches Locked on Kraken. Again, we are part of the Locked on Podcast Network. And Locked on Kraken is a part of what we offer at Black Rosie Media. You can also check out our newsletter, the Women's Basketball Roundup. We're also doing an Angel Reese giveaway. We've got some Angel Reese 2K26 t-shirts that we're giving away. So you got to check out our newsletter for that. And we had a really great conversation about the New York Liberty on our podcast, Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. We talked about, was it right for them to let Sandy Brondello go? What happens to the Liberty? Are they still in a championship window? And then we were asked a question and we got into it. What does it mean for women coaches, especially Black women coaches, that we're starting to see a trend for more NBA experience in the WNBA? And again, I know this is a Seattle-based podcast, so I got to tell you about Tempestade Talk. Tempestade, of course, being the Portuguese word for storm. So our Storm Talk podcast, and we're going to have that next week, Wednesday, a week from today, with Roberta Rodriguez, who is a contributor over at Forbes and also my co-host for Tempestade Talk. So you're going to want to check that out because we also have to talk about a coaching vacancy there, who we think would be good, and what the Seattle Storm need to do to be a more competitive team and find their way beyond just the first round of the playoffs. But again, this is Locked on Kraken, part of the Locked on Podcast Network. I am your host, Erica L. Ayala. Thank you, Joe Dabney. Thank you, Ava Wood. And a reminder to all those listening, be kind to yourself. And when you can, take a deep breath, put a smile on your face, and extend that kindness to others. We always hold fast, we stay true, and we say, let's go, Kraken. And at the end of next month, we're also going to say, let's go, PWHL Seattle, and or whatever the team name is going to be. Until the next episode, make sure you're following Joe, make sure you follow Ava, and of course, follow Locked on Kraken and Black Rosie Media. Peace out, everybody.